Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Happy Father's Day to all the awesome, amazing fathers out there and the single mothers who deserve every day to be their day. Mine is smiling from the heavens and he would love a laugh on this day, so I will leave a Father's Day meme for you to enjoy on the screen. But that is not why I'm here. I'm here to talk about a specific aspect in play right now, which will become more dominant as we enter July and August, and that aspect is called Quincunx or Inconjunct, or two planets at 150 degree to each other. Today I'm going to do a quick update, and as we near close to the mid of July, I'll do another detailed video to talk through how the outer planets aspecting our personal planets at 150 degree, they bring about a turning point in our life. Right now that turning point is being experienced at 28 degree of Gemini. Sun at 28 degree of Gemini is forming a quincunx or inconjunct with Pluto in Capricorn at 28 degree. It's first of these aspects, and there will be a series of it which will play out during the course of July as Mercury and Venus, both of them will go through this Pluto aspect. We will also see Neptune and Uranus form in conjunction to different planets as we near October. But I'll first talk about this aspect in play because it's kickstarting a turning point. Quincunx is when two unrelated, irreconcilable and disconnected parts of our personalities, they need to be brought together in balance. We are forced in some ways to get these two sides of us to be brought in balance, and we cannot move forward unless we bring these two parts of ourselves together, unless we balance them, we merge them, and we bring equal attention to these two separate, different, irreconcilable parts of ourselves. With Sun and Pluto, it's normally the light and the dark side of us that needs to be reconciled. Everything in life cannot be black or white, and we are forced to understand that in some ways. We are asked to embrace the middle ground in some ways when this aspect plays out, as we might have had a period of swinging through the extremes of happy to sad, optimism to pessimism, shining to downer, working fervently to going deeper into inner introspection, creating externally to destroying internally, frolicking and focusing on many lighter subjects to suddenly focusing on some intense, deeper subjects. Light and intensity. Each side of our personality, it needs attention, and we need to bring the strength we find in the period of darkness, rebirth, inner introspection out in the light into physical manifestation. It's when the inner strength and focus, it needs to be let out to shine into physical manifestations, and extremes need to be balanced by trying to not go to the worst case scenarios all the time. Mental demons, they seem to doom the current moment, and this will become more significant as we approach July, specifically around middle of July, when Mercury will also form in conjunction to Pluto, which is the very definition of darkness of the mind, darkness of the thoughts, where our mind and our words, they need to transform, they need to change, they need to be reconciled in some ways with the two extreme sides of ourselves. And there will be power struggles externally playing out when these aspects play out. Even right now, when Sun and Pluto, they are in conjunction with each other, you will find that this aspect plays out externally through somebody, especially if you have planets around 28 degree of Gemini, 28 degree of Leo, or 28 degree of Capricorn. These aspects create a power struggle, create a crisis, a turning point in our life. Quincunx and inconjunctions, they do bring turning points in our life. Extreme detours which change the very destination of our life come about when Pluto is forming a 150 degree aspect to one of our personal planets, especially Leos and Geminis. know that well. They have been experiencing this over the period of 2 to 3 years at one or another time since 2007 when Pluto entered Capricorn. Depending on what degree of sun you are or where your key planets or points are in Leo or Gemini, over a spread of 2 to 3 years, you would have been in conjunct at 150 degrees with Pluto in Capricorn, and that usually forms a turning point, especially in our physical life, in our career, in our physical existence, in our health as well, in our physical body as well. Right now, Pluto is at 28 degree. So around 28 degree of Leo and Gemini would have this aspect directly on their sun, which is around 18th of June born or 19th or 20th of August born. If you have your critical points of planets around 28 degree of Gemini or Leo, you would also experience this over a period of 2 to 3 years. For all of us, it is a short-lived transit though. We are collectively going to experience this through multiple transits from now to August, which will bring about a turning point. But for Leos, Geminis, and even sometimes for Capricorn who have planets around 28 degree, because Pluto is sitting directly on their sun or their personal planets or points, you would be experiencing this over a prolonged period of time, which will form a turning point in your life. Those 2 or 3 years that happen, they are points of great detour in our life, when our life takes an unexpected turn, when our life's direction goes somewhere where we initially never intended to go. Initially, we think it's a distraction, a delay in us reaching our pre-decided, pre-agreed destiny, but life just keeps taking us away from that pre-decided, pre-agreed destiny into a completely different direction. There are mountains, sceneries, new vistas that we never thought we would see, which do come on those detours, but there is a lot of frustration because you are not going where you thought you would go. Because with Pluto, there is a dose of loss, karmic addictions, karmic relationships, sometimes unfortunately abuse and inner demons, all the gunk that is hidden below the surface from our past, actual plumbing issues of our life, it comes up on the surface because of Pluto being the key aspect here. But what starts as being a painful spanner in things, it becomes a journey that we needed to take only to discover that our pre-decided, pre-agreed destiny was a farce that we were living. It's a journey that changes the destination. Pluto enriches our life by making it more real. This is a tough transit, no questions about it. And most Geminis have already been through it because we are already at 28 degree now. Whenever Pluto was exact in conjunct to their sun, same for Leos, because Pluto is at 150 degree to Leos as well. It triggers a turning point when Pluto is exact at 150 degree to your sun, and it's generally a 2 to 3 year prolonged transit, just as all Pluto transits are. For example, I'll give you example of few known personalities. Like for Johnny Depp, it was 2016 to 2018, the period from allegations, divorce to the op-ed. He's 18 degree of Gemini. For Boris Johnson, it's 2021 to 2023. He's 28 degree of Gemini. Right now it's happening for him. For Trump, it was mid-2018 to 2020. From mid-year elections on, he's 23 degree of Gemini. He's also a Leo, so there's more yet to come for him. Angelina Jolie, from 2013 to 2015, with her op-ed and revelation about breast cancer or the preventive surgery she had for breast cancer and so on. So wherever your degree of Gemini or Leo is, when Pluto is exactly 150 degree to your sun or any other planets, Mercury, Mars, Venus, you find a turning point, especially if that planet is prominently placed or if it's your sun. The thing is, you only come to know why the detour happened post the transit. That's why it calls for flexibility, so you can enjoy the detour, take in the scenery, see what life brings you through it, while trying to not lose yourself to one or the other extremes of it. It's no less than near death because it's Pluto. And with sun, especially if it's your sun which is being aspected by Pluto, it's our physical self. It's our career. It's our external identity, which goes through this crisis period. For Sun and Leo, who also have received this aspect since 2007 at one or the other point, depending on the degrees, it's tougher because let's accepted. They have no latitude to give. Sun in Leo is a fixed sign. I'm sorry, Leo. I love Leos. My best friend is a Leo. They are shiny. Their heart is pure gold, but they are stubborn. They are fixated. It's their birthright to be just, to be right, to shine. And only Leo I have seen bend in 1,000 ways as Kim Cattrall or Samantha in Sex and the City. But that's not the kind of bending I'm talking about. You know how that Leo in real life refused to bend off screen. It's one of the many things for which Leos are both adored, admired, as well as despised some ways. They are fixed in their ways. So when a flexibility is called or a detour is called, they tend to go back to their old life instead of trying to take that route. And there is resistance in taking that turn. It's their birthright to behold what they think is right with a golden shiny play card in their hand with a giant FU written all over it. Sun in Gemini would be more flexible. They would find a middle way. They would hold their frolicking between options, their freedom to choose different things in their life, their priority to go through different partners, different careers, different choices, their priority to mental stimulation. They would hold that against any kind of restriction, power structures that hold them back. They will fight against that. They would fight against manipulations. They would have to fight against physical abuse sometimes when this aspect happens. Their own inner fears, angst, addictions, they will all come out to play to question their lighter sides. They will be forced to discover their deeper side. They would be forced to own their inner desires. They will be forced to rise in property, ranks, and power through certain crisis situations. But as I said, Gemini is mutable. They know how to bend the rules, how to bend the flow, how to combine the notes of these two completely different sides of ourselves much easier, in a much easier ways than Leo. Sun in Leo will hold their priority of self-respect, self-love, and what's right against these power structures, these manipulations, these abuses, their own inner fears, angst, addictions, death, their own inner desires. Sometimes they'll fight against their own inner desires, and they can carry this difference to grave. But something else is happening for Leos which will not let them do that. Neptune is also forming an inconjunction with Leo, and it's wearing them down. Unfortunately, it causes sometimes health to be worn down, physical vitality to be worn down when Neptune is forming in conjunction with them. But the way to change a Leo is not through logic. The way to show Leo that there is another way to do things which will lead them to a better destination is by showing them love. It is by showing them higher purpose, and that's what life does, but not in the easiest way, in a little bit of it in a physically weakening way. So there is a weakening of the shield, sometimes, if I may say, ego, that happens for Leos when Neptune is making that aspect. And sometimes it happens through love in their life. And love changes Leos, not logic. And of course, there is, when Neptune is involved for Leo, that brings a chance to be on the screen, to be the shiny galore of being on the screen, which always they know whatever they might do, they cannot stay away from, because life will always put them in the middle of a stage with all lights on them, ready or not. So the shift in life's career direction puts them in a spotlight as well in some ways. But that happens after a bit of chaffing down of their walls. It withers them down a little bit before they get there. But they are more likely to keep going back. I have a lot of Leo in my chat. Keep going back to old ways, to old careers, to old destinations, trying to find their way back even when they know that the old way of being in their career, in their external life is over. Yod activation. There is a Yod activation, I spoke about it before as well, which is coming for Leos. And it will invariably put Leos in the path of an important societal change, whether they like it or not, by 2026. And we are in the progression of that, especially for third decan of Leos. And that will also influence early degree Virgo, especially the first 2-3 degrees of Virgos. That's Johnny Depp's Mars, Uranus. That's Trump's Mars and Ascendant. This is Regulus people who have regular star in their chart prominent. They anyways are meant to have a royal life mission. But this Yod activation, which will be a prolonged one, because Neptune and Pluto both will be forming 150 degree with Leo over a course of close to 3 years. This prolonged Yod with Neptune, Pluto, and planets in Leo is just going to make it very evident that their personal irreconcilable issues, they would become a pivotal shift for the society in some way. It's when you do not wish to be there, but you invariably become a person as a pivot of a social change while you were just trying to solve your own personal problem, so as to speak, or just trying to, well, live. I have my Mars, Jupiter, North Node there, but my royal self hasn't kicked in yet, so I don't know how that will play out for me, but that's what is, I believe, ahead for anybody with especially third decan of Leos and the early degree of Virgo, so 23 to 30 degrees of Leo, or the first 2 or 3 degrees of Virgos. This year, in my view, is already initiated. So if any of you have your planets, especially your sun, around those degrees, you have already initiated the process of this activation. It would become exact in 2026. So for Leos, it's a longer journey and probably a tougher one. Same for early degree Virgos, I think. But it has a purpose for sure. It has a much bigger purpose. I didn't intend this to be so long, but as we enter July and August, which will no doubt be extremely volatile months, because we have that once in lifetime Uranus North Node Mars conjunction happening on 31st of July, which will bring unprecedented events, especially financially and earth linked to us, towards as we near the second half of July. There will be some earth shattering event, very, very unique in nature. Uranus is wildcard event. We have to be prepared mentally, psychologically for that, and that calls for flexibility as well. Brace for left-wing detours that will hit us collectively, but they would ask us for the flexibility in where we thought our life will go, where our destination is. It will ask for flexibility to take that detour, because quincunx or in conjunction, it is a journey that shifts the very destination we were heading to. That's what I have for you. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you.